Hello, my name is Andy Milner, and I'm the band director at Paintsville Independent Schools in Paintsville, Kentucky, and I am here to teach you about music theory. And I'm working out of this book right here, Master Theory, by Charles S. Peters and Paul Yoder. If you have not had a chance to get this book, please try to get it. It's very affordable. I believe I found it on Amazon, and I did some research about these gentlemen. I don't have the exact dates as to when they were born, but I know that these guys were around at the turn of the century, and I mean the previous century. And they basically kind of set the standard. This book right here is setting the standard for many of the theory books that are released today. There are going to be some new approaches to teaching theory, but this is basically the guideline in which they're going to follow. Again, the book is very affordable. So the money that you're using to buy this book, obviously it's not going to them. Possibly it's going to their families or whatever, but they at least are still publishing this book. So that's a really good sign. Today is lesson 11. I'm talking about rest values. Rest values. All right, what is a rest? Well, it is essentially the opposite of a note. I can talk to you about what is music. Music is, to me, if you had to, or let's say a rhythm, is a combination of long and short sounds, but you also have to include silences in that. So a combination of long and short sounds and silences, and a rest represents that silence. Now, a rest does not mean that you get to just put your instrument down or whatever and just chill and just take a break. It's not like that. It just means don't play during this time. And music, because we have to organize our sounds and our silences, then we have to kind of let the musician know how long to rest for. And so we have different types of rests. The ones that we're going to learn about today look similar to this, sort of like a little lightning bolt 3 kind of, and you'll see how it's drawn on the paper when we get to the assignment. But this is your quarter rest. All right, and it lasts 1 beat. Right? And then you have something that kind of looks like a hat. It's a line with a square put on it. And this is the half rest. And of course you can remember that by half and hat. And this gets 2 beats. And then you have something that looks like an upside down hat. And that is the whole rest. And it gets 4 beats. So remember, we go back to our note values lesson. We had a quarter note, and we remember what that looks like. And there's a half rest, a half note, and there's a whole note. Well, this is it's the same thing, except it's telling the musician don't play during this time. Ways that I can remember this, of course, with the quarter note, for me, I just have to remember that that's what it looks like. So there's no cheater for that. Half and the hat, that's easy to remember. And then over here, I kind of like to think of this as a little guy. I don't know if I'm drawing it really small, so you probably won't be able to see it. But a little guy kind of walking and falling into the hole. And then so you have a whole rest. 4 beats. Now the way that this actually looks on a staff, if I draw this, hopefully you all can see it, but if I draw my staff over here, they usually use the middle line. If I put a rest right here and it's above the line, that's a half rest. And if I put it down here below the line, that's a whole rest. that's essentially it. I think if you can remember that, you're in good shape. All right, here we go. Lesson 11, rest values. For each note value in music, there is an equal rest value. The time signature determines the value of each note or rest. When the lower number of the time signature is 4, the quarter rest, looks all right there, receives 1 beat. The half rest receives 2 beats, and the whole rest receives 4 beats. Notice that the half rest is above the line and the whole rest is below it. The beats may be written under the rest like this. All right, so remember how we put like if these were notes, we put like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, anytime you see a rest, we're just going to represent that with the R. Okay. Then when we're over here, notice we have a half rest. That's going to be worth 2 beats. But we show it by putting 2 R's, and then we have to connect it with a dash. Same thing over here. And then this got cut off on the copier, but there would be an extra R there. There'd be 4 R's representing how many beats that whole rest took up. Notice where they're putting their whole rest. They're putting it on that line. Again, below or above the line doesn't it? I've seen it many different ways. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're all connected with a dash. All right. The R's connected by a dash apply to the same rest and should be counted in a continuous sound. All right. Number 1, practice counting the following exercise aloud while tapping your foot evenly and steadily. Don't forget about the dash between the R's. Now, let's try this. And I'll go ahead and sing. I'll snap the beat, and then I'll count off, and then I'll sing a note, and then you'll notice 4 beats of silence, and then we'll continue. 1, 2, ready, sing. La, rest. La, rest, rest, la. And then our last beat, whatever it was cut off. Okay, number 2. Write the beats under each note and rest in the following exercise. All right, so we have to pull from skills we already know about. Every measure begins with 1. But remember, the half note is worth 2 beats. We got to connect it with a dash. Then right here, that's an R. Well, that took up beat 3, so we had to move to beat 4. See how that works? Remember, we're in 4/4, so there has to be 4 beats in a measure. So new measure, we got to start with beat 1, and then that took up beat 2, that took up beat 3, and now we move to beat 4. Now I've said we got to start with beat 1, but if it's a rest, you've got to put an R, and then dash rest because it is a half rest. Then this takes up beat 3, and then this is another rest. And then over here, we have rest, 2, 3. I'm sorry, that I put a 4. My mind was thinking of 4. And then when we get over here, remember, it's either going to be another quarter note or it's going to be an R. So it got cut off. All right, number 3. How many half rests equal a whole rest? All right, so think about that. How many beats is a half rest worth? All right, we can say 2. And then how many beats is a whole rest? So now the question becomes, how many 2s equal a 4? Well, then you say a 2, I'm sorry. All right, number 4. How many quarter rests equal a whole rest? So quarter rest gets 1 beat, and a whole rest gets 4 beats. So now it's like, how many times can 1 go into 4? The answer is 4. And number 5, how many quarter rests equal a half rest? So how many 1s can go into a 2? Answer is 2. All right, that's it. Memorize. A whole rest equals a whole note. A half rest equals a half note. And a quarter rest equals a quarter note. All right, I really appreciate you all watching the lessons, and I will see you in lesson 12.